or sorry, the two. ANSEF, do you see that in square brackets? Gotta know ANSEF. All right, patients that are taking ANSEF, or whether it's in the hospital or oral, gotta know about that drug. And also Keflex, a very, very common cephalosporin. How many of you have heard of the drugs that we've talked about so far? And do you agree, if you're going to be in the medical profession, you have to know what they do? You can't shrug your shoulders and go, God, I don't know what they do. Patients don't, families don't appreciate that. So let's take a look at, and also too, if a patient ever asks you, oh, hey, I'm taking this stuff called Keflex, is it going to hurt my cells also? Remember, being in the medical field means that you have to teach people a little bit too. And if you sit them down and say, no, these drugs kill organisms with a cell wall, and your cells don't have a cell wall, so it can't hurt you. Make sense? Okay, let's also highlight another one, the monobactams called aztreonam. You see the aztreonam? You see that? So highlight that one. So I'm going to tell you what's important about the cephalosporins and aztreonam. When I get to the cephalosporins right now, I'm going to teach you something kind of interesting. Here's what's called first, second, third, fourth, and fifth generation cephalosporins. This will be first, second, third, fourth, and then fifth isn't up here. Now, a fourth generation isn't better than a third. Third isn't better than second. Second isn't better than first. They are different. They're not better. And what you're going to find really interesting about these cephalosporins, let's take a look. First of all, you guys can all name a gram-negative organism, right? E. coli, right? Gram-negative rod. And a gram-positive organism. Actually, if I say gram-negative organisms, E. coli is an example. Gram-positive organisms like staph and strep, agreed? And also other gram-positive organisms. Here's staph, here's strep. Let me show you how I read this table. The very first generation of cephalosporins that came out, the very first generation killed strep and staph and did not kill E. coli. Does that make sense to you? It should make sense. These are gram-positive and this one is gram-negative, right? We would never give a cephalosporin if somebody had an E. coli infection. But with semi-synthesized drugs that come along, now the second generation of cephalosporins is equally effective on gram-negative rods as well as these gram-positive cocci. However, do you think that the second is better than the first? Can you give me an example when, in this case, we would use a first generation cephalosporin? Can you give me examples of when we would use a second generation cephalosporin? Yes?
We would use the first generation if we were sure that they have like gram-positive